All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. And I thought we were going to hear the president. We could still hear the president, I guess, before we get to Tom DeLay, former Republican House Majority Leader, a.k.a. the Hammer. We've never said that before, but I guess we are now. And former Texas congressman, of course. Why don't we listen to President Obama?
Last night, on my orders, America's armed forces began strikes against ISIL targets in Syria. I also made clear that America would act as part of a broad coalition, and that's exactly what we've done. We were joined in this action by our friends and partners, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Jordan, Bahrain, and Qatar. And more broadly, over 40 nations have offered to help in this comprehensive effort to confront this terrorist threat, to take out terrorist targets, to train and equip Iraqi and Syrian opposition fighters who are going up against ISIL on the ground, to cut off ISIL's financing, to counter its hateful ideology, and to stop the flow of fighters into and out of the region.
All right, folks, joining us now, as I mentioned, is Tom DeLay. Hello, Congressman.
Hello, Steve. How are you?
I'm okay. Always great to talk to you. All right, so your take on what we are doing and what we did and what the president had to say today about it.
Well, the best I could say, it's about time. The president's not doing what I would like to see happen, and that's shock and all. But at least we're doing something. We haven't done anything really for the last 3 to 4 years, which allowed all these terrorists to rebuild and recruit soldiers and start taking over countries. And the whole Arab Spring was because the terrorists didn't believe that the president would do anything. So I'm very glad that we are finally doing something. I've got some reservations. I hope the president stays out of it. I hope he doesn't pick bombing sites and like President Johnson did. Let the military do their job.
Well, but he's the best general in the room.
Well, there's a great article in the Wall Street Journal today by what was his name? I forgot his name now. Brett Stevens, called What Obama Knows. It was a great piece on the fact that Obama needs to give up his ideological rigidity and his fathomless ignorance, that he has no clue what's going on. That's why it's taken so long just to get here. I mean, he announced, what, a week or so ago that we were going to go into Syria. That just told ISIS that we're going to come and we're going to bomb, so go to ground, go hide, because the bombs are coming. I mean, that kind of stuff is just ridiculous. So I'm really worried that Obama doesn't know what he's doing. But at the same time, I'm glad we're starting to bomb and sending the message to the terrorists that we are picking up the war on terror and we are serious about it.
What about this offshoot of Al-Qaeda that we are hearing about now that supposedly posed an imminent threat?
Well, that's a perfect example, Steve. I got to tell you, all of a sudden it's a threat announced last night during the bombing that the Khorazans are going to get hit because they were an imminent threat to the West. I can remember the president just saying a week or so ago that there's no imminent threat. I mean, we're not on. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's not telling us the truth about what's going on, and he cannot sustain this if he doesn't tell the American people the truth, so that the American people will support what we're doing and going after these terrorists wherever we find them.
Is there a little bit in you, call it what you will, skepticism or whatever, that says this might be, you know, it's interesting. Bob Beckel on Fox News Channel, the liberal, the big liberal, I don't know if he knows anything, but he said last week, there's going to be an October surprise. He said, I'm not going to say what it is, but I think I know what it's going to be. And then a few days later, we have this. Do you think this is, I don't know, it's not going to motivate his base, but are there ulterior motives, do you believe, or is it pure good?
Well, I don't want to assign ulterior motives, except for the fact that the president doesn't do anything unless it's political and a political decision. That's why it's taken so long to get here. We should have been doing this 6 months ago. But the point is, we can't sit around and wait. We've tried doing nothing, and it's got us to this point to where we're putting our own people in harm's way, probably in a more dangerous situation than we would have if we'd have done this a year or so ago. But whatever it is, it could be an October surprise. Who knows what it is? It needs to be done, and it's better to do at least this than do nothing.
What about the coalition? We were talking about just the other day that maybe there isn't a coalition. Kerry's having trouble getting commitments. Now we're told that 5 or 6 Arab countries participated in this. Are you surprised?
I am a little surprised, and frankly, I've got to give them credit for it. To get the Arabs in on it, and not just sending money, but putting planes in the air, I think that's a very good, strong move, and I have to give him credit for it. I don't know that we have 40 nations on board. They're probably not telling us the truth. If you sign a petition, I guess you're on board. But 40 nations seems like a lot to me. If we had 40 nations supplying arms and soldiers and planes and equipment, that'd be different. But to claim we have 40 nations, I think, is stretching the truth.
When push comes to shove, Congressman, it's everyone with any knowledge, except the president, and maybe it still fits, and maybe there is no knowledge there or not much, says it's going to take ground troops. It's going to take somebody's ground troops. Will this president have the will, if ISIS is in fact on the ropes or beatable, to add that last ingredient and get the job done?
Well, hopefully the president realizes that as this progresses, and he admits that it's going to take years, and if we're going to be in this for years, we're going to have to put ground troops there in some place. Before I left Congress, we were working on changing the military substantially and putting in place these quick hit special forces. And I'm hoping that he will use those quick hit special forces in strategic ways, whether it be in Syria or Yemen or Iraq or wherever these terrorists are. If we can't kill them with bombs, we need one way or another to go in and kill them one-on-one.
How's it looking for the midterms? Because they're getting closer and closer with each passing day.
Well, they're tightening up, that's for sure, especially in the Senate races. They're getting tighter and tighter. But I still think that the Republicans are going to take at least 6 Senate seats, and could take even more depending on the wave that hits the election day. And I think the House will pick up a few seats. Who knows? Maybe 10. So I really believe this is going to be a good year for Republicans. It would have been a better year for Republicans if they had an agenda that they could go to the American people with. Right now,
and you've been saying that, Congressman. You've been saying that for months. Why do you think they don't?
I don't know. I can't get inside their heads. All I can, they're taking the easy way out, I guess, because they think they could win everything with just Obama being so unpopular. This war may turn that around a little bit, but at the same time, the American people, at least in the recent polls, still don't trust this president anymore. And dropping a few bombs in Iraq and Syria is not going to regain their trust.
Right. No. And one thing on the Senate before we go: New Hampshire and Iowa, very encouraging for Republicans all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's really looking good. I'm a little worried about Pat Roberts in Kansas. We could lose a seat there, and I don't like what I'm seeing going on in Georgia. We could lose a seat there, so we'd have to pick up 8 seats in order to win the Senate. But Georgia's red enough that I think the Republican will win, and Pat Roberts is pretty solid in Kansas, even though he's behind in the polls right now.
All right, Congressman, always great to talk to you, sir. I thank you very much.
My pleasure, Steve. Good to be with you always.
Congressman, the hammer, ladies and gentlemen, Congressman Tom DeLay here on the Steve Malzberg Show. And coming up next, it's the one and only Gimme 5, which I know you love and you got to have. Well, you're going to get it right here on Newsmax Television on the Steve Malzberg Show.